Hello and welcome to Policy and Politics with me, Tarun Nangia. Today we have a very interesting guest and a very interesting topic. Bhutan is known as the land of happy people. In fact, a lot of Indians and people from all over the world wish to go to Bhutan because they want to see how people there keep happy with simple lifestyles and a lot of greenery and cleanliness. Today I have got somebody who has served as the Director General of the Department of Tourism. He's currently holding that charge for the government of Bhutan. May I introduce you to Dorji Dhradul. Good to see you, Mr. Dhradul, and looking forward to an interesting interaction.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tarun, for having me on this show with you. It's a great honor.
In fact, I would also like to share with my viewers that Mr. Dhradul earlier served as the governor for 4 years of Gasa district in Bhutan. He's also an accomplished author. He's written one book on women empowerment, which is in the fiction category. His most latest book is in the non-fiction category, which is about learning to unlearn and relearn to build a great nation. So if you wish to read about his book, just Google his name and you'll get both his books. But your second book appears to be very interesting in that sense about unlearning and relearning to build a great nation. This is what you are doing at Bhutan, aren't you? Continuously learning to make Bhutan great.
Yes, I think you hit the nail on its head. Definitely. Presently, Bhutan is undergoing a transformation, meaning we are now trying to, based on our past experiences, what we have not done right. So we are trying to correct those and then try to in our efforts to build a greater nation. You're right.
So I want to know from you, suddenly in the past few years, we saw Bhutan's name coming up on the tourism map very strongly. What have you done in the past few years for the name to shine so bright that everywhere Bhutan is being discussed these days?
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, I think somehow for Bhutan, we started our tourism in early 1970s only. The first group of tourists came only in 1974, about 200 of them. And since then, we had a very kind of a unique tourism policy, which we commonly call as high value, low volume. In a very simple layman's term, that's how we called it, high value, low volume. And basically in today's language, what it basically means is today now we are talking about sustainability. So it's basically about sustainable tourism. So most probably, I think it's because of that unique tourism policy, which has now, because of the climate change, because of the sustainability issue, because of the environmental degradation. So all this, has become a hot topic in the last 10 decade or so. And then our tourism policy, which was framed about 50 years before, has actually foreseen this. So because of that, most probably now, even in the world of tourism, most destinations are actually gearing towards sustainable tourism, which we have been doing for last 50 years. So most probably, I suspect this could be the one, the policy aspect. Then the second aspect is in the more recently, we have even made a bigger changes. Changes that was basically geared towards further reinforcing that policy of high value, low volume, as I've said earlier, is basically towards achieving the sustainability, goal of our programs or activities.
Now, a lot of Indians often talk about looking forward to visiting Bhutan as tourists and staying there. What has been the response from the Indian market for Bhutan over the years, and what has been your experience?
Yes, we started our tourism COVID only in September 2022. So we have just completed just a little more than a year. So before that, because of COVID, 2.5 years we were closed. And then when we restarted, as you have already touched on it, we have made some big changes, including sustainable development fee, which, as I was trying to explain earlier, it used to be there since we started our tourism, but the rate used to be actually just about 65 USD. Now, when we reopened, we have increased to 200, which is a big jump, actually. No, so similarly, we have made so many other policy changes. So because of that, the arrivals were actually the target that we have set for ourselves was a bit conservative. So the number, and not only because of the policy changes, even otherwise, because of the COVID, because of the global economic situation, all the travel itself was becoming slow. Therefore, Bhutan also got affected. Now, that is the overall situation. But despite that, when we talk about visitors from India to Bhutan, it has been, and also the changes that we have introduced, the response from Indian guests has been overwhelmingly positive, actually. It has been so far. Just to give you a figure, since our reopening in September last year, 2022, to November this year, 2023, more than 50% of our total arrivals are actually from India. Now, specifically, we had a total of about 114,272 tourists since reopening last year, of which almost like 76,000 are from India. So therefore, as the numbers tells very clearly, the support, the response from India has been very positive. And even going further, even the sustainable development fee, which was not there pre-pandemic, especially for our tourists from India, Bangladesh, and pre-COVID. But now, post-COVID, even Bangladesh and Maldives are also put together with the rest of the world. So only India is different. And as of now, India gets a special offer of a SDF, concessional or SDF, which comes roughly about 18, 19 USD. But that is a big change for even for Indians, because before the pandemic, they didn't have to pay anything. But despite that, we see that, as I've said, the number shows the numbers that we get from India are really high. And also through our interaction with the visitors from India, they are all in support of our sustainable development fee and other initiatives that we have embarked on. Basically, saying that they are also our friends and visitors from India are also in totally support of what we are trying to do. Basically, our policy initiatives are geared towards making our tourism sustainable, but which basically, will be also good for the visitors, like for themselves. So when things are not regulated properly, coordinated, even the visitors' experience is affected. And so therefore, it is also in the interest of the visitors themselves to support our policy. So as of now, the response has been really, really positive, and we would really like to thank our visitors from India for this support.
It is said that government to government relations grow better when there is people movement. So
True.
you feel that a lot of people come from India to Bhutan, the relations of India-Bhutan grow even better.
True. No, I totally agree. Yes, I think at the government level also things are very happening so well. But now through this tourism initiatives also, I think we get more people connected, and I think that will definitely take forward our relationship between our two countries.
I also want to know from you, in India, a lot of people are flying these days through airlines due to the Udan scheme of the government, which has made flying cheaper. For less cost, you get airline tickets. More Indians are using airways. Uh, do you plan that you will increase connectivity of Bhutan from more airports across India? Is that a possibility, so that more Indians can come from different parts of India to Bhutan?
Yes, this is very much in our plan. In fact, about 7-8 years before, we had a direct flight from Mumbai also. But those days, I think because of the not much business picking up, I think we had to stop that. But now we are reconsidering those. Maybe from Mumbai, of course, from Kolkata we already have. So even other destination, other cities from India, we are definitely interested to connect. But first and foremost, I think our priority will be to start with Mumbai. And now let me also take this opportunity on this. Very recently, in fact, just last month, we have actually introduced a special air fares for our visitors from SAARC countries. I mean, that definitely includes India.
India.
But as a, I mean, and this is again a big offer, because when we restarted tourism in September 2022, that was one of the big change. We made all the airfares same. Pre-pandemic, we used to have 3 rates. One rate for Bhutanese, one rate for the SAARC countries, and the other rate for the international, the rest of the world. And the price are almost like double, triple, between comparing with the SAARC rates and the international. And we have implemented this for almost 1.5 years. I mean, 1 year after September 23rd. And after getting so many feedbacks and also listening to studying the situation and also making a special kind of a exception to our neighboring countries, we have actually now introduced a new fare from our airlines, and which is, I think, roughly must be around 40% lower than what the rest of the world pays. So I feel even this is going to now further enhance the movement between India and Bhutan.
I want to know from you, Bhutanese are known as happy people. They don't overwork, they work what is necessary, but they also live their lives. What the world can learn from Bhutan, according to you?
Well, so on this, I think I might have a little bit difference from you. Yes, still pre-pandemic, I think that used to be the general understanding of the world on Bhutan. That Bhutan is a happiest country. Bhutanese people are all happy, and as you have said, we also, maybe not work very hard and give more time towards, leisure and happiness kind of thing. Yes, I think in a way it used to be true. I think maybe. But now, after the pandemic, I mean, we have learned a lot of lessons from pandemic. 2.5 years of complete closure of the country, and a lot of things happen. And one of the biggest learning, I mean, this is my personal interpretation. I mean, it is not an official statement. And being a part of the senior bureaucracy and just my own observation, I feel the pandemic has taught us and made us realize that maybe we have been a little bit too complacent. Maybe we have been a little bit too, distracted by such comments from the world saying that Bhutan is a happy place and we are all happy, we are contented. And now when the pandemic has taught us that's not the truth. We have to do a lot of brainstorming, a lot of work. Now, as I've said, when we started this conversation, I said Bhutan at presently is undergoing a major transformation. So this transformation, basically what it means is now we are all supposed to be working much, maybe 100 times more than how we used to work pre-pandemic. And the main reason is, in the past, I think pre-pandemic, I think we have done very well in terms of environmental conservation, the spiritual development, the happiness part, the non-material development. I think we have done so well, and that will continue. We are not shunning those. I mean, as you know, that our development philosophy is based on gross national happiness, and which will continue to be our guiding development philosophy. But basically now what we are doing is we want to work more hard and do more, and then make our economy also much more vibrant than the pre-pandemic. So yes, in a way, yes, the world will continue to label us as a happy country or happy people. But deep down, as I said, is my personal feeling that we need to do a lot more. Maybe we are, like, for example, if you ask me, am I totally happy? Yes, spiritually, mentally, environmentally, maybe I'm happy culturally, but economically, am I happy? I don't think so. I think I need to do much more to make my life more holistically happy. I think I need to have some more money, for example. So that actually gets escalated at the national level also.
Acha, I also want to know from you, Bhutan has earned a name for itself as a country with low carbon footprint. And at the basic level, when you see YouTube videos of tourists visiting Bhutan, they see about how the cleanliness of the place. There is a lot of cleanliness everywhere. Do you think there is a national importance on cleanliness in Bhutan? People like to keep things neat and clean.
Very true. Yes. Still, I think comparing with the many other countries, yes, we can consider Bhutan as a much more cleaner. But again, when we really and honestly look at our situation here, I think we can do much better. I think things are not as clean as it should be, but comparatively maybe we're clean. And so therefore the government and also from the people side, we are making this now extra effort to further make our country clean. That is on the physical aspect. But if you are talking about the environment, the climate change overall, that is again very strong. I don't know whether you want me to talk a little bit on that, or maybe you want to ask.
No, please. No, please. You can speak. It is a very interesting to know.
Okay. So environmentally, also in climate change, now in our own small and humble way, somehow we are being looked at as a leader when it comes to environment and climate change action. Now, as you also maybe, as you know, that Bhutan is the first carbon negative country and was the only country until very recent. Of course, now few countries have also joined us. Otherwise, we were the only carbon negative country in the world, And now, and also, no, and why is this? Why is this? Now, basically, I believe this is due to number of reasons, and one is basically from this basically stems from our cultural and traditional ethos, our spiritual belief and practices. Example, traditionally, historically, we consider all our natural elements like soil, earth, air, mountains, lakes, rivers, trees, this as a sacred, this as a, not only sacred, also part and parcel of our existence. Without them, we don't exist, for example. So therefore, we respect these elements. And we also believe that each of these elements, like, for example, a lake, a mountain, a river, they also have their own protecting deities, like we humans have. We pray to certain gods and all. Similarly, we believe, these elements also have their own protecting deities. Now, I don't know whether you will believe me or not. Even today, it is a very common practice that suppose if you build a physical structure in any area or space or on the earth, whether it is a building or whether it is a small hut or whether it is, just a temporary kind of a camp, actually, we still follow a very kind of a strict regime wherein we conduct a ritual, a ceremony there, simple ceremony, and then ask permission from these protecting deities of that land, from that earth. And, basically seeking, okay, we want to build a house there. Please allow us. So likewise, and then similarly, for example, even today, if you go into the lakes, into the high mountains, Bhutanese, we will fear to go and dip our feet in the lake because we feel that is a sacred and we don't want to desecrate the lake. So therefore, swimmings and things like that for the Bhutanese in the high lakes found in the highlands is almost like prohibited. Of course, not by law, but by our tradition. Basically, these are all respect to the environment. In today's interpretation, and also by law, mountaineering in Bhutan. Mountaineering above 6,000 meters above sea level is banned by law. Now, why? Traditionally, this is because we respect the mountains, because we believe that, even I think Hindus also believe that, the Lord Shiva and all, they reside in the high Himalayas. Similarly, we also very strongly believe that. So therefore, we have not allowed mountaineering above 6,000 meters above sea level, and which today in our interpretation, this has helped in our environmental conservation, And because of that, another fact is today Bhutan has the highest unclimbed mountain in the world. It is called as Gangkar Pinsum, and it is at 24,840 feet. And this is the highest unclimbed mountain in the world. And simply because of this, our tradition and our law that we don't allow. Yes.
Yes, after you complete.
Yeah. No, then the other, reason why our environmental achievements, the performance has been so strong so far is, again, based on our development philosophy. Our development philosophy is guided by gross national happiness, which has 4 pillars. And these 4 pillars, and one of them is environmental conservation and preservation. So therefore, it has a strong component in the development philosophy itself. And also, very interesting fact, and we maybe I can be corrected, but as of now, we believe that Bhutan's constitution is the only constitution in the world that actually mandates a country to have a country land under a forest cover a minimum of 60%.
60%?
Yes, it is in our constitution. But on the ground, we have as of today 72% actually. And let me just conclude this particular theme with some reference to tourism. And tourism also, the high value, low volume tourism, as I've explained earlier, is also very much environmentally conscious, sustainable driven. So therefore, we have what you call a sustainable development fee, which is actually making the news. I mean, in the world of tourism, because as of today, while for the next 4 years we have reduced it back to $100. It was almost for a year after reopening. It was for 200. Now we have reduced it to $100 for next 4 years. But still, then I think maybe we are still one of the highest, levy in terms of tourism. So all these are contributing towards how we have performed
But
in environment.
one thing that I learned from what you said, that since the Bhutanese constitution mandates 60% green cover, so you will forever balance your growth with ecology. Environment and growth, you have decided to balance beforehand.
Very true, very true. In fact, our development philosophy, gross national happiness, is basically about this balance. Environment, and not only with environment, is a balance of the economy part, the material development, the spiritual development, the environmental development, and the cultural development. So these are the four key elements that we pursue when we talk about development. But now, maybe for next 5 to 10 years, we are talking about giving a little bit more emphasis on the economic development. Because as I said earlier, so far, I think we have done very well on these three elements: the spiritual, the environment, the cultural element. We have done very well. But now I think we want to focus a little bit more on the environmental part. So these are four pillars. And so far we have been advocating that these all elements are equally important. So therefore, we are basically talking about balanced development.
Okay. Tell me one thing. Bhutanese has a lot of traditional culture. When
Yes.
people come, what they would get to see about the traditional culture of Bhutan, because you have preserved it. Preservation is also very important, and you have done it well, is what everyone says.
Yes. Yes, this is also very true. Sometimes, in the past, visitors have actually also described our country as a living museum. Living museum. I mean, normally when you say about museum, it's about past. So
Yes.
they're saying us living museum because we can still see today what we used to be, doing in 200 years before. So, for example, the go that I'm wearing, this is our
Yes.
national Bhutanese for male, and of course female have similar. So the first thing that they will observe is as they, board our plane, flying into Bhutan, they will see this. You will see most of the passenger, if they are Bhutanese, you can see in our Go and Kira. And if not, at least when they start landing in our country, then they will see most of the people are wearing in this traditional go. So I mean, this just as an example. So yes, I think our culture and tradition is still very strong. So it's not only this, as I said earlier, even in terms of environmental protection, we still conduct those rituals, which are in today's world, in the rest of the world, maybe these are too, kind of a age-old thing, but here we are still practicing, like seeking permission from the, supernatural elements which you don't see, asking, permission from them to build a, a structure in earth. So these are most of our things that we do today are actually can be traced back to 100 200 years before. So these are still very strong. But having said this, now presently we are in a transformation mode, an evolutionary mode. So therefore we are also saying, we even have a slogan saying that while we respect and want to preserve, conserve our culture, tradition and history, but we don't want to be just trapped in that. We are also looking forward. Now we want to be innovative at the same time and also futuristic, and so much so that we look at our stars, stars in the heaven as our goal, and we really want to venture into what you call as, even in terms of technology. I mean, anything that is the modern and future, that also we are going to now take on board. So while tradition, culture, history, this will be also not shunned. This will be also equally taken, but we will be also taken together. So it is again about balance, I think. Balance.
Thank you so very much for explaining so much about your country. A lot of people wanted to know about Bhutan. And of course, with India, Bhutan so close and so many Indians visiting Bhutan. It was nice of you to come and share so many things. Especially, I like the part of the constitution where you said that the country in the constitution decided 60%. Everybody would like to know that. I mean, even these things are taken care of. It was a pleasure. I like talking to you and looking forward to speak to you again in future when you take more initiatives and do more for your country. Thank you so very much for coming on my show. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tarun. It was a great pleasure and honor, and of course, a great opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.